everybody, and welcome to the kitchen. Today we are going to make Egyptian cream kanafa. Kanafa is a very traditional Egyptian dish, and it is rather delicious. It's usually made with shredded phyllo dough, but you can use rice vermicelli, fried vermicelli instead. And I was able to get this at the Indian store on 6th and 1st Avenue. And I have been to Key Food, Whole Foods, Cinderella, Trader Joe's, Aldi, everybody. I've been asking if they have what is called the katafi dough, and nobody seems to have it. They have phyllo dough, but they don't have this special one. So I'm going to keep on looking. Maybe I'll be able to find it over the weekend. And if so, then I'm going to make two types of kanafa. I'm going to make a kanafa that has sort of like a cream pudding center. And I'm also going to make a kanafa that has a coconut, almond, and raisin center. So the kanafa is a layer of the shredded phyllo or the vermicelli, and it's dredged with lots of melted butter. And then you put in a custard or cheese. There are some recipes that are just ricotta and mozzarella. This one we're making is more like a vanilla pudding. And then another layer of this on top. You bake it, and then what you do is you pour a syrup over the top that soaks in and gives it a lot of the flavor. So for our syrup, we're going to use rose water and orange blossom water, so that'll make it very fragrant. And then of course we'll garnish it with some chopped pistachios. And I was lucky enough that this place, Dual, on 91 First Avenue, had all these beautiful ingredients and the rose water and orange blossom water. And so we will start getting everything ready, and I'll show you how to make it. Also, we're going to have a little lemon juice in our syrup that we'll pour over after we bake it. We need 1 cup of clarified butter, or ghee. You can actually get ghee in an Indian grocery store, but ghee and clarified butter are basically the same exact thing. You melt butter. This was 2.5 sticks of butter, and what you want to do is you want to remove the foam off the top, and then you're going to pour out the milk solids will sink to the bottom, and you're going to pour out the oil, the fat, the liquid oil base that is in between these two layers. The foam you want to remove, and then the milk solids that are at the bottom. So I'm just putting them here into this bowl. I'm using a spoon, just skimming off the top, draining any of the oil. We don't want to waste anything. And then at the bottom are the liquid solids. Now this is, I melted it and I let it sit for a couple minutes, so that way the milk solids would sink to the bottom. They're heavier. And we're removing this because this is what would burn. So when we're heating up our kunafa, we don't want it to burn. We don't want brown butter. We want it to bake nicely. And if you don't do this step, then the milk solids can burn while it's cooking. This helps to separate all the milk solids out of the butter, and then that way, when you're cooking it, you don't have to worry about it burning. So this is a bit of a slow process, as you can see, but you need to do it to remove this. And so, all right, so I removed the foam off the top, and now I'm going to pour it into our measuring cup. And I'm going to pour it slowly so all the milk solids stay at the bottom of the pan. And we need 1 cup. So now you can see the milk solids. There we go. We're getting milk solids now. So pour lightly. We need 1 cup. Just need a little bit more. All right, but see all that white? Those are the milk solids at the bottom that we want to separate out, because those are will burn at higher temperatures. So I just need a tiny little bit more. All right, so that should be 1 cup. Now, you don't need to throw that out. We could use it if we need to ever grease anything. So, here we go. All right, we're making our syrup for the kunafa, and I already have 1 cup of sugar in there. I'm going to add another cup of sugar, and then that way, that's all that we need. We're going to add 1 cup of water, and we're going to bring it to a boil and let it simmer. And so I'm also going to get a wooden spoon. Now, wooden spoons, remember, are in this drawer in the kitchen. A wooden spoon, and just going to stir that together. And I don't want to burn the sugar. We're not making caramel or anything, so we're just going to put it on a low flame, let it come to a boil, and simmer it to thicken the syrup. So after we've done that, though, then we're going to add in our rose water, our orange blossom, and lemon juice. So let's get this going, because that's going to take a while. So again, we're going to let it come to a boil. The syrup has come to a rapid boil. I added 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And so now I'm going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. And I'm going to turn this down, turn down the flame to a low heat. So we're going to simmer it. We want the sauce to get a bit thicker. And so one thing, you don't want to keep stirring it. If you stir this too much, the sugar can crystallize, and that'll be a real mess. So you just stir it every so often. The lemon juice will help prevent it from crystallizing as well. And then once we have stopped and it has cooled a bit, we will add in our rose water and orange blossom. We're going to make the vanilla pudding now for the center of our kunafa. And it is what we have here is called mastic. Mastic is like a dry resin. It's a little rock hard thing. And when I went to the Indian store, they actually did have it. But it was $7.95 for like 1 ounce, this tiny little package. I was like, that's a little too much. So I didn't get that. And the substitute for mastic is normally vanilla. So we're just gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla. I tasted our syrup, which has our rose water and orange blossom. And the rose water and orange blossom are very fragrant and really strong. So I don't wanna overpower my kunafa with these two, so I'm going to leave it out of the cream. I'm just going to have it in our syrup that goes over the top. If you are somebody who likes fragrant things and are familiar with using these, please go right ahead and add this to your pudding. But for me, I'm much more used to the Western vanilla flavor. And the other thing is that it seems rather plain. It's just the vermicelli and our custard. So I do love golden raisins, and I'm going to add apricots too. So we're going to make an apricot golden raisin kunafa. Apricots are wonderful. I'm going to rehydrate these, chop them up smaller, and we'll fold them into the pudding and then put them in our kunafa, because I have these gorgeous pistachios to garnish it with. Now this, however, I did splurge. I'm not sure if you can tell, there's only 4 ounces of pistachios. And I spent $11 on it. I guess I was feeling flush at the moment, but I got this from the Indian store, and this is rather expensive. The reason, though, I did spend it is because, do you see how they are so beautifully cut? All right, this is why they cost so much. They are so beautifully cut that I can just sprinkle them on the top. I don't have to do any of the cutting, and they just absolutely look gorgeous. Pistachios are expensive right off the bat, but just these are slivered so beautifully, I couldn't resist. So it's not like I buy expensive nuts all the time, so this time I splurged. All right, so we have here our 5 tablespoons of cornstarch, our 3 tablespoons of sugar. We're gonna stir the two together, and then I have my whisk, so we're gonna whisk those two together, and we're gonna put them into our pan. I've got a saucepan here with our 1.5 cups of whole milk. So add that now. We're making our vanilla pudding or custard filling for the kunafa, and a 1.5 cups of cream. So we're gonna bring that over medium-high heat, and we're gonna wanna whisk it while we're stirring it. You don't wanna, burn it. So we're gonna have that on high. We're gonna add in our sugar and our cornstarch, and then whisk continuously until this thickens. So it's very important to keep whisking, especially in the corners. You don't want it to get lumpy. And this is a way to make a quick pudding. Now that will take a while, so I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's thickened. After it's thickened, then we'll add in the vanilla. Off the heat. Okay, so I want to add a half cup of golden raisins. So let's get the weight. Make sure it's always consistent. 2.75 ounces. So I'm going to add 2.75 ounces. I'm going to write that down. This is our pudding, the cream, milk, sugar, cornstarch. It came to a boil. I'm going to continue to whisk it for 1 minute while it thickens. So we don't want to let it get any lumps in it. We continue to whisk vigorously. It'll thicken as it goes.